Okay, so how exactly does the world's finest assassin take down a literally invincible hero whose power defies all the rules? I mean, it's a huge paradox, right? But it sits smack in the middle of our story. You've got this seasoned killer, fully armed with the knowledge of his past life and the magic of a brand new world, and his one job is to eliminate an entity with unimaginable strength.
Welcome to The Explainer. Let's just dive right into this. Today, we are breaking down the absolute most pivotal events of Volume 2 of The World's Finest Assassin. We're going to trace the intense emotional journeys, the tactical brilliance, and the inescapable conflict that completely defines this chapter. If you thought Volume 1 laid a solid foundation, just wait until you see the explosive character dynamics and magical warfare we're getting into today.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, The Assassin's New Family.
Right away, we get this crucial development that totally redefines Luke's inner circle, and his responsibilities as our core cast steps onto a much larger stage. We have Luke looking as calculated as ever. Beside him is Dia, who has just officially become Luke's adopted younger sister. This was actually a super strategic move, so she could legitimately learn the deeply secretive Torthidei assassination techniques to help her own embattled family. Then you've got the fiercely loyal retainer Tart, the logistical mastermind Maha, the ambitious noble Nias, and finally, turning his back to us, Epona, the hero. Literally the strongest person in the land, yet heavily plagued by anxiety.
You know, at the emotional core of Luke's team is Tart's incredible growth. She is only 14, but as a dedicated retainer, her drive is completely unmatched. Having survived being abandoned in the mountains as a kid, she actually still battles severe trauma and intense anxiety attacks. But it's Luke's gentle comfort, literally allowing her to sleep right by his side when the panic sets in, that grounds her. Her fierce determination to master the mana-draining Torthidei magic eyes isn't just about getting stronger either. It's about proving she belongs right beside her lord in the absolute heat of battle.
Moving right along to Section 2, Acquiring the Divine Treasure.
So a master assassin is really only as good as his tools, right? And that leads us to the harbor city of Miltu, so Luke can acquire a divine treasure. He meets up with Maha, his proxy who handles all his logistical and financial support, and she presents him with a divine treasure called the Leather Crane Bag. Now, to your average mage, this bag is a massive trap. It drains huge amounts of mana just to store items inside it. But Luke's tactical genius completely shines in how he weaponizes the thing. By attaching a forest stone that steadily releases energy, he gives the bag a constant passive supply of mana. Almost instantly, he increases its capacity to fit half a carriage's worth of gear without draining a single drop of his own strength. He literally turns a simple storage pouch into a tactical combat trump card.
And this perfectly highlights Luke's scientific approach to magic. He uses a mortar and pestle to meticulously grind forest stones down into a highly volatile powder. He isn't just relying on standard spells here. He's actively applying his past life knowledge of chemistry and physics to carefully adjust the explosive force of his handmade weapons. Every single grain of powder is a calculated measure of lethal intent.
Which brings us to Section 3, the Royal Knights Academy.
With his arsenal totally prepped, the scene shifts to the prestigious Royal Knights Academy. And look, this isn't your standard high school. It's this unique melting pot where commoners with high mana and elite nobles mingle, and where intense political tensions are constantly brewing just beneath the surface. Think about the stark contrast here. On one hand, you have Dia and Tart innocently comparing their cute new academy uniforms and just enjoying the peaceful, fun aspects of school life. But on the other hand, there's the reality of a literal sniper rifle. Underneath the whole veneer of standard academy training, Luke is secretly mass-producing firearms and packing that leather grain bag to the absolute brim. While everyone else is preparing for exams, Luke is preparing for war.
This whole covert vibe puts Luke in direct contrast with another major player at the academy, Nois Gefis. Nois's ambition is loud and it's dangerous. He wants to gather the strongest academy students to openly upend and change the failing kingdom. But Luke, he is entirely focused on his covert mission. He's not there to play politics or start a revolution. He is there to quietly observe the hero and prepare for a world-saving assassination. Essentially, Nois wants an army, but Luke just needs an opening.
Now for Section 4, Meeting the Target. This brings us to easily the most high-stakes moment of the entire volume. Luke finally comes face-to-face with the exact person he was reincarnated to kill, Epona Rhiannon. The tension just skyrockets when the Academy headmaster summons Luke, Dia, and Tart. Luke is sharp, and he quickly deduces the terrifying reality of why they were enrolled, saying, "What I think you want from us is to be Opponent Rhiannon's chains."
See, the hero's power is absolute. It's world-destroying. Physical restraints are completely impossible, so the Academy's desperate plot is to use Lug and his charismatic, strong family to become Epona's close friends, acting as emotional anchors to keep the hero's devastating power in check.
Living as the hero's emotional chains creates some incredibly complex and honestly pretty funny Academy dynamics. First up, Lug has to actually survive a terrifying mock battle with Epona just to prove his worth. Then, behind closed doors, Lug is secretly replenishing Tart's mana so she can master those Tuatha eyes without collapsing. But Dia, being brilliantly perceptive, figures out this secret, which, by the way, involves a rather intimate kiss to share magic, and she humorously demands that Lug share his mana with her too so she can practice advanced spells. It really showcases Lug's deeply human side as he binds his new family closer together through shared secrets and power.
All right, Section 5, the Rescue Mission.
So that fun Academy life, yeah, it gets violently interrupted. An unexpected military emergency forces Lug into a desperate hostage rescue situation against an overwhelming orc army. The timeline shows a crazy rapid escalation here. Within hour 1, they are ripped from the Academy and deployed straight to the battlefield. By hour 2, the sheer number of orcs proves to be way too much for the standard knights. And by hour 3, a hostage crisis emerges. Lug, relying purely on his assassin's instincts and a pair of good luck kisses from Dia and Tart, leaves his family in a safe position and charges right into the horde, completely alone.
And this sets up an absolutely phenomenal climax. Rifle volley. Lug realizes he needs precise, non-explosive firepower to save the hostages without accidentally harming them. So he opens the leather crane bag and uses earth magic magnetism to instantly deploy and aim 20 rifles in midair at the exact same time. It's a completely impossible feat for a normal mage, and it perfectly demonstrates his lethal, calculating genius merging with raw magical power. He decimates the threat in seconds.
Finally, we hit Section 6, the Assassin's Dilemma.
Following that intense battle, the rescue is a total success. But the encounter with the orcs, combined with his daily life around the wildly overpowered hero, leaves Lug with a really hard truth. He just isn't strong enough yet. Not for the escalating threats, and definitely not to face Epona if the time ever comes. So, Lug makes the tough decision to temporarily leave the Academy. Looking back, he promises, "I will be back. I'll return even more powerful." He literally has to step away from his new friends to undergo intense solitary training.
The author himself, Rui Tsukiyo, actually hits the nail on the head in the afterword, writing, "I wonder what Luif will do now that he's met the person he's supposed to assassinate." It is the ultimate dramatic irony. Luif was sent to this world specifically as a weapon against Epona, but the Academy forced them to become companions. Epona trusts Luif completely, and even draws confidence from his guidance.
Which leaves us with one haunting question as we close out this explainer. When the time finally comes, and the fate of the entire world hangs in the balance, can the world's finest assassin really pull the trigger on his new friend? Thank you so much for joining me for this breakdown, and I'll catch you next time as the stakes get even higher.
Plot Capsule